Hola, mi gente. Welcome to the Money Chisme podcast. And in this episode, I have a special guest, Gabriela from Teran Media Design, and she is here to talk about branding. So, hola, Gabriela. How are you doing today? Thank you for coming on the podcast.
Hi, thank you for having me. Yes, my name is Gabby. I'm the founder of Teran Media Design. Like you mentioned, we are a woman-owned for women design studio where we specialize in branding, web design, and multimedia, um, just to help out the overall coaches and service providers.
Awesome. So you focus mainly on like coaching and other service providing entrepreneurs. So what is it that you're helping them with? Like what kind of services do you provide?
So we have different services that we help out, but I personally like to meet people where they are.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, our full service package will be full brand and web design, and but we will also do launch. So we also have web strategy, brand strategy, which is basically the back end of your business, like getting yourself ready to grow. We don't really do one-off logos, but we definitely can create a smaller package that benefits the business better because whenever you're starting out, you don't only just need a logo, you also need social media like templates, and sometimes you might also need help with your email. And some people that starting a business, they also need like coaching themselves. So it's like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, I'm starting this venture, what do I do? And I think that I keep that service open because I really like to help people, especially Latinos that come to us and there's like, okay, Gabby, now I'm doing this. I'm already, trying to get my clients. Like, how can I, you know, um, legalize my business, or how can I, start getting certifications? So depending on the business, I also, help with that.
Yeah, because as I will say, as like, I'm building like my business and I just like started like Money Chisme like last year. And like the branding and all that was just kind of like a big learning curve, and I still don't have it down. And so like just having to learn like how in depth it goes, and it's not like, oh, I'm gonna just start a business. And I will say in like the Latinx community, we do have a lot of entrepreneurs that we just like jump in and start creating a business, but we lack that part of where we learn to actually brand ourselves and create an actual brand. So what are like some of the main, I guess, mistakes that you see new entrepreneurs making?
Like, let's go back to the logo. So they
Mhm.
think like the logo is like what's gonna make or break their business. So they want to put the logo as big as they can in everybody's faces so they'll be remembered.
Mhm.
But in reality, it's like with branding, it's not just like your logo, it's also how you communicate, how you talk to people, what you're about, what you stand for. So
Mhm.
all of those things will help people remember you, as instead of like putting the logo like gigantic and then your services they're like tiny in the corner, you know?
That's
Yeah.
funny. I
So
definitely did that. If you go back to my Instagram, you'll see I was like, I'm all over the place. Like, I think I'm slowly getting there. But yeah, that was me.
yeah, it takes some time. It takes some time to learn. Also, another mistake is that I seen is that they will only like they will try to focus on everyone. So for example, oh, I open my business and I want everyone to come and buy. But in reality, a successful business is built on an ideal client
Mhm.
to give you direction. If you start peeling down the layers of who you are, um, just as humans, we attract people who are like us.
Mhm.
So it's very good to take advantage of that. Like look at within yourself and it's like, who do I really want to work with? Like at the beginning is I think it's hard to make that distinguishment. But once your business starts growing and you start to learn the way you do business and the way you who you want to work with, it's important to just clarify it,
Mhm.
because If you're talking to everyone, you're talking to no one.
I like that because I think that's one thing that I had to definitely learn and actually sit down and actually think of my like who I'm trying to attract. And then like that was a big step to try to like make sure that I am talking to the right client, the people that I want to work with, and that goes, with branding, so that way I can attract them and they want to work with me.
Yeah, and you can do that in different ways, but like I said, like we already full on, um somebody we come with our personality, with, even our jokes. Like
Mhm.
even that's part of your brand. Like when you're building up your business, like especially if you start marketing, like let's say on TikTok, like that's where we
Mhm.
found each other. Just trying to be more specific and more intentional,
Mhm.
it goes a long way.
Yeah, I struggled with that at the very beginning. I mean, I'm still struggling. Like I'm not there yet, but I feel like I'm way better than when I first started because it was crazy. Like I didn't even have like my fonts and I think I still want to change my fonts too, but um even just trying to figure out what font I want to use, what colors and all that. So like how do you help someone like figure out their font and like how many fonts should someone have?
Fonts, I could go, I think I could talk to you about hours on fonts.
Uh-huh.
Like I can nerd out. But for a business owner, right?
Mhm.
Fonts are very intentional, just as your colors, your logos, anything that you do. Like if you got to think about that ideal client, right? Like, who do I want to work with? And what would attract this client? Like, is my client sassy like me? Like, maybe let's look at some fonts that have a little, you know?
Mhm.
Or is my client super sophisticated? Like, let's start looking at some, this type of font, like some serif fonts. Or is my client just like a chill girl and like, we need like something playful, a little bit more, not too serious. Fonts can say a lot. And
Mhm.
that's a good thing that you can include that in your branding to build that persona.
Yeah, I'm still figuring it out because I think at the beginning, I think I was using like Comic Sans and what else did I use? Like some fun ones because I was like, oh, I wanted to be fun and everything. But then I'm talking about like, money or real estate investing. So I was like, okay, I can't be like using the goofy fonts because I want to be taken seriously and have them see when they see my stuff that I post on social media to be attracted that like, hey, she is, not necessarily too serious, but like, she knows what she's talking about. But if I'm over here with Comic Sans and like all these different colors and like, it just looks like again, if you go back, I look back at those like posts that I used to do in Instagram, and I'm like, oh my god, like embarrassing because even though I'm not, perfect right now, but now I look back, I was like, man, I used to think those were like good, and no, it was all over the place and it just looked goofy. So
And also looking back, like let's just looking back at the first post, right? Like I think those are good to cherish. Like I think when you look back, you're like, oh my God, like I was all over the place. But there's so many people that don't start businesses because they just overthink too much and
hmm
they're like they want it to be perfect. But reality is like when you start a business, even I was a designer. And when I started my business, I was all over the place too.
hmm
Like maybe not like visual wise, but you know, like I didn't know a lot of things.
hmm
So I think that's one tip also that I like to give business owners is like just start, like
hmm
however, wherever you are, like just start because along the way you're gonna find people like you who are starting out and like you get to learn together and build community, right? Because that's also very important as a business owner.
I love that's one thing I loved about TikTok because I was able to like find like you and other también, Latinapreneurs and just other entrepreneurs, and it just like made me feel so much better that I'm not struggling out here on my own, and we start networking and supporting each other. Going back, so about the fonts and now the colors, like how do you decide what colors you want to use, because I think I switched my colors a few times, and I think I kind of like the colors that I want. I think I have like that dark purple, the gray, and the gold. But like, how are you deciding like what goes together?
Well, with color says a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So you can really evoke a lot of emotion. So first things first is like go back to, okay, your ideal client. What
Mm-hmm.
does my ideal client like? Like how are they like? How are they feeling? Do they need comfort? Also, color, a lot of colors are already being used for certain fields. Like for example, I know that the financial field, like they overdo it with the green, like
Yes,
everything is
they do.
green.
I'm trying to avoid that. So that's why I kind of like I pick gold because I want to like stand out. Like, they always I do see that they use green, but I was like, I kind of like
Yeah.
gold better. But yeah.
Yeah, so and that's one way that you differentiating yourself, like
Mm-hmm.
you're standing away from like the like what is usually being done.
Mm-hmm.
And that's okay. Then you just have to, keep building your brand and people will know you. But color says a lot. Like for example, I like to whenever I'm fussy with colors, like when I'm working with a business owner, like
Mm-hmm.
I try to create color palettes that are in between, not like a whole rainbow, because
Mm-hmm.
that's also very confusing. It's too much. So I like to keep it between 3 to 4 colors for whatever brand we do,
Mm-hmm.
and two main colors that you'll be using, and then the two highlight colors. So you will just use it occasionally, but
Mm-hmm.
just enough times for people to know that they're connected with each other.
Mm-hmm.
And to choose the colors, like I was saying, like it evokes a lot of emotion. I look at this color wheel. So,
Mm-hmm.
and I start to see what do we want to do, right? Let's say our ICA, like our ideal client, it's very vibrant. So we start looking at vibrant colors, like, okay, this person is vibrant but rebellious, right? Then
Mm-hmm.
we can start going a little darker, or this person is like very safe, very stable.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe we start looking at blues,
Mm-hmm.
and then start combining the colors, but always being very intentional about who you're targeting and like who you want to work with, honestly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm still I think I what was it? I think I had like purple and then like pink and then like a gray or whatever, but I felt like it was going too girly to where like I want to be a little bit still feminine but still more modern and a little bit more like business type, like a little bit oriented. So then I went to like a darker purple and then like a gray, and then now I have the gold as like a highlight. So I'm using gold to like highlight certain things when I do a post. And so I think I'm kind of liking that. So I'm playing around with that. But it's crazy how much you have to think about these things, like from the font and then now color. And is there anything else that like someone needs to think about when it comes to their brand?
Can also think of maybe icons and like patterns.
Mm-hmm.
Patterns can really do a lot too. Like especially like if you're going for a very funky and like playful brand, I think
Mm-hmm.
patterns are like right out there that can really help you bring that like extra to whatever you're doing. I always recommend people get photos like um and they don't have to be like super, like you don't have to hire somebody from Vogue and come take some
Mm-hmm.
photos. But if you have a friend like that who's doing photography and that is down to take your photos, like I'll say always try to get some professionally done photos of yourself and what
Mm-hmm.
you're doing. So whatever your business is about, and they don't have to be like I said, like photographers also come in different budgets.
Mm-hmm.
So like whatever you can afford, like just get started. A lot of people use stock photos, and stock
Mhm,
photos will carry you.
mhm,
Like they will, but because they are stock photos, right?
mhm,
Everybody's using them. So it doesn't help you really differentiate yourself too much. So
Mhm.
when you have your own photos, with your own style or your own products.
Yeah, that's one on my to-do list too, is go take and I hate taking pictures. But but that's, yeah, that's on my to-do list to actually go out and, you know, take some, I guess, like professional type photos versus like me just taking like selfies or something.
I love design and
Mhm,
photographer. Like I do photography for my local clients, so we go out and we get photos, shots of the products or themselves, like branding photo shoots.
mhm.
But when it comes to me, I'm like, I don't know.
So how did you like end up getting into like branding and web design? Like what made you go in that direction?
So I went to school for psychology,
Mhm.
my first 2 years of college. And well, I was also undocumented, so that's
Uh-huh.
also part of my story. So I will go part-time, and this after that I would work in the hospitality like
Uh-huh.
industry. So I will do like serving, bar, and all of those things. And we started I met my husband, and like we started promoting,
Uh-huh.
and then I started designing like club flyers.
Mhm.
That is my thing.
Oh,
That's how it
you
started.
were the one that club like
I got
that's
started.
awesome. Hey, it got you to where you are now.
Yeah, I started doing club flyers, and I
Uh-huh.
quit. I quit psychology. I just quit. I was like, no, I don't think so. Yeah, I joke with my husband. I was like, it's because of you. Like I met you, and then I didn't want to meet another crazy. No, but like those are jokes. I learned Photoshop first, which was like
Mhm.
very first program, and we're talking, I don't know, like 10, 11 years ago.
Mhm.
But that's where I would do the club flyers, and I'll just, and then I switched my major. I went to design school there in the community college, and I
Mhm.
got my associates. And while I was in school, because I was already doing club flyers, so it was like I started freelancing before I went to school.
Mhm.
So yeah, and by the time I got out, I had built a few clients, and that's how I got to working. After that, I work full time with my on my freelance business. Back then, I used to do a lot of like marketing materials, which are
Mhm.
like everything like printing wise, like business cards, flyers, signage, um, yard signs. Like that was a big thing. So that's what I would used to do, but it was mostly like print,
Mhm.
and it wasn't really like there was no strategy behind it. It was mostly the design. So after I got out of community college, I went on to continue with my bachelor's. So that's when I went to University of Maryland, and I finished there, and I got a job there.
Mhm.
So during the day I would go to work, University of Maryland, as a multimedia designer, and at night I will still work with my clients and doing all the things. But I think 2 years ago, um, right by where the pandemic happened, I hit major burnout doing that for a long time, and it really put things in perspective for me. Like, what do I really want to do? Because I don't think I'm getting older, and like this life of full on hustle is like not. So that's when I decided to just go full on my studio, like
Mhm.
niche down, like as well. Like, who do I really want to work with, and who can I make, um, with whom can I make the most impact?
Mhm.
Who do I want to impact? Who do I want to bring all this knowledge and like help build? And I always kept going back um to women entrepreneurs, and also education. Like so when I started like researching like who could do this, or who is doing this thing that I want to help.
Mhm.
Like a lot of coaches came up, a lot of service providers, because I feel like coaches and service providers, they get in it to, at least the ones that I like to work with, they get in it to help others.
Mhm.
So our mission is very similar. So that's what I um that's what I like, that we can complement each other to build something that is going to really help others.
What are some, I guess, quick tips for someone that is starting out and is like, trying to create their business and they're kind of overwhelmed, like how I was, where I was like, oh my God, I don't know what to do. And as far as like branding and stuff, I like, what are like some quick tips for them?
Okay. So I'm gonna give you um design tips, but also I want to give you some mindset tips. Number one, mindset tip, just start.
Mm-hmm.
Like, don't overthink it, don't try to make it perfect, just start. The second is ask a lot of questions and don't be afraid to ask a lot of questions. Like, if even if you're a beginner, like, don't feel, because I feel like we got that, like, as women, like as Latinas, you got that,
Mm-hmm.
you got your spunk, you got your like independence, because culturally, like, that's just how it has to be.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I would say, like, don't be afraid to ask questions, don't be afraid to be a beginner, because it can only go up. And design wise, I would say um stay away from Comic Sans.
why, I feel attacked.
No, just kidding.
I did.
Colors,
Mhm,
um, keep it like maybe 2 to 3 colors, and that
mhm,
will help yourself, because then you don't have that many choices. So like
mhm,
you're not overwhelmed, and you're not like in Canva trying to make like graphics with a million colors, and now like you overwhelm it. Now you don't do it.
mhm,
So yeah, so keep things to like 3 colors max. With fonts, keep it max
mhm,
2 fonts. That's it. That's all you need. Keep it simple, and always think of your ideal client. Like,
mhm,
who are you really attracting, and who you really want to attract. Don't feel don't feel like it's restrictive. If
mhm,
anything, it's like it's building a system that's gonna help you, and always thinking of that ideal client. Okay, like, how am I helping them? Because things can also look pretty, but if there's no substance, and that's where the business owner or like the coach or the service provider comes in, right? You're the expert on your field. So like that's the expert, like
mhm.
if you coming out, the branding is just like enhancing that and like helping you be seen by that right person.
That something that I've seen that has helped me kind of like accelerate a little bit, as far as like knowledge and learning, is to ask for help from somebody that knows what they're doing and somebody can help you so that way you're not using Comic Sans off from the beginning. you know because it could cut down that time and like in half or even more by just avoiding making those mistakes. So with that, go ahead and shout out what like the services, where can they find you and how you could help them.
Yeah, I think that what you said is really important. Like branding and websites. Sometimes people are like, oh, it seems too pricey right now. But in
Hmm.
reality, it's like your website is your 24/7 salesperson.
Hmm.
And people with good branding, they statistically wise, they see a 30% increase on visibility, on revenue. So in reality, is that yeah, you're investing, but you're investing in yourself and in your company to
Hmm.
get to the next level. And having said that, you can find me anywhere. Again, my name is Gabby. I am on TikTok, Instagram, Teran Media Design. That's Teran Media Design. And we do branding, web design, and multimedia. So we also help you with your video and your marketing aspect if you need it. And one more thing, if you are, so you, we work with different types of business owners. So either if you're in the beginning stages or you are in the stage where you've been in business for a while and you're ready to grow, like with full on brand and web design, um, we have something for both. Right now, we're working on our very first template shop. So that's mostly towards beginner business owners. So if you don't have the time to try to build or it's just too overwhelming, then you can come to our shop and you get pre-made pre-made templates, like a nice pre-made website and branding. So
Awesome. And I'll make sure to link all that, in the information in the description below so that way you could check her out and she could get you right because I know I'm planning to. So that way, so hopefully later in the year you'll see a new money chisme and better fonts and better colors and stuff like that and better website because my site is it's a little iffy, but but I will get that right this year. But other than that, thank you so much, Gabby, for coming on to the show and sharing your expertise and your tips. And, other than that, I will see everyone in the next episode.
yeah,
Bye.
thank you for having me.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.